Okay. So we have almost 60 people on here. One of our speakers today is going to join us a little bit late. So when we see her pop up, we'll do an introduction. But in the meantime, we have CJ and Noemi. How this works for everybody else that's joining, it's really going to be a full open Q&A. I'll start prompting them with some just intro questions, but we're really just waiting for you all to put your questions in the chat. So if you have questions that you want to ask to somebody that has transitioned into the UX field, feel free to do that. We have a mixture of current students of Avocademy and not current students of Avocademy. So I might be explaining some stuff that some of you already know, just to give some context as we go through this. If you are not a current student of Avocademy, we are going to giving a coupon code at the end, so stick around or come back to YouTube to watch the video later. And then if you're not speaking, please mute yourself so we don't hear any weird background noise. All right, let's get started. Do you all want to maybe introduce yourselves and share a little bit of background? Did you go to college? What did you study? And why you decided to switch into UX?
Cool. I guess.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm CJ. What was the first question? How did I get started? So I'm a UX designer for Southern Company. It's a utility company in the South. They do mainly power, electricity. I say UX designer because that's like my official title, but really I do both UX, UI, and even research. And I've been working for almost 6 weeks now, I think, and it's been great. I graduated from Avocademy Foundations in December last year, and then Career Jumpstart on mid-March, yes. I did go to college briefly. I dropped out because it was boring. I've always wanted to be a pilot, so I pursued flight training, and then the pandemic happened, so I dropped out again and did some Googling, and then I found Avocademy on Reddit. Then later TikTok, and then I was like, this is a sign. So I signed up, and that's it. I'm here.
Awesome. I guess it's my turn. So I, for starters, to give you some context, I didn't go to college. I actually went to beauty school because I got pregnant at a really young age. And so the best option was to do something quick that wouldn't be super expensive. So beauty school was the way I went. And I was actually a hairstylist for 4 years. And then COVID came, and I realized that I didn't really have a good work-life balance at work. And then I am a single parent, so my son was gonna need me a lot more growing up. And so I decided to join Avocademy. I started in August, graduated in October, and then I got my job in April. So yeah.
Thank you. Hi, Angie. Thank you for joining us. We have not even missed one question. The first question was, tell us a little bit about your background. Like, did you go to college? What were you doing before? And kind of why you decided to switch into UX and kind of what your process was. So just like a little intro.
Yeah. Well, my background, I am originally from Colombia. I grew up there and I did my bachelor's back there. I came to the US and I was working in the science field. I was working at a biotech company, and then I have this need of like working from home because I have a daughter and I have, this pandemic and all of that. Right before the pandemic, I knew about Maca. I contacted her and I signed up. I keep doing the Avocademy for the while I was working part-time. Then finally I graduated in July last year. I started the Career Jumpstart, and then once I finished it, I started looking for a job. I think it was, I did choose starts looking for a job, one with not complete portfolio, like 3 study cases, and that was like a fail for me. So then I have to stop and do my 3 cases. Once I start, it was around like 5 months that it took me to land into a new job, and yeah, that's it.
And then do you mind sharing where you currently work?
I am working for CBS Health.
As a research role, right?
No, as it's an analyst UX designer.
Cool. Noemi, did you share where you're currently working?
No, I don't think I did. My brain was still buffering with all the questions. So I work at Roadcast Digital. It's basically an umbrella company for a bunch of other little products. So I'm on their Art Village team, and I'm a product designer. I'm their only product designer.
Well, thank you all for sharing. There's a question here for all of you that are on the call. There's a lot of you, so we should definitely have more than one question on here. So feel free to put in your questions in the chat. So there's a question here. Before I ask it, I'm just going to explain Avocademy's 2 programs, just because to give some context to the question. There is the Foundations program, which is where you work by yourself on one project that's fake, right? It's something you're kind of working through as you're learning the basics. And once you finish that, there's a Career Jumpstart program. And in that program, you're working on real projects with other designers for real clients. And then we help you kind of find jobs. So Foundations and Career Jumpstart. So the question is, did you all complete the Career Jumpstart, or did you just do the Foundations class? Was it overwhelming for you in the beginning? I just started this week. And that's from Sarah, who I think just started Foundations course. CJ, you want to start?
Yeah, I did both. I know I said I saw Avocademy on social media, but I actually, because I've been looking at, sorry to go off on a tangent. I've been looking at like tech jobs since the pandemic, and in one of my many searches, I stumbled upon UX design. I did a foundations, like an introductory course from Design Labs, and just to like test the waters, you know, it wasn't very expensive. And then I found out that I like it, but since Avocademy has like free mentorship, like unlimited mentorships, I did that. So I did both. I did the Foundations to really, because in all of my like YouTube and Google searches, I kind of like had an idea of what UI would be, and I've been playing around with like Photoshop and a lot of tools like that for a while now. But I did Foundations, because I really wanted to learn about UX, which I had no like prior knowledge whatsoever. So yes, I did Foundations for me, then Jumpstart. Noemi, if you want to go.
Yeah, so I did something very similar to CJ. I took I believe it's Coursera class, just like an intro class to make sure this is what I wanted to do. And then I was like, okay, this is it. So I was like, okay, I'm quitting my job, and I committed like full time. But the advantage I had was that I had actually saved up enough money to buy a house. So I was like, well, I can survive off my savings. And that like gave me the ability to focus solely on Foundations. And so after I graduated Foundations, I was like, okay, next thing, which was Career Jumpstart. So yeah. Angie?
Same process. I did Udemy. I took a starter class. I never finished it. I did Foundations, and then I went to Career Jumpstart. I didn't quit my job until I was like basically seeing the end of the Foundations program. Just personal decision, and then yeah. I mean, I have the support of my husband, so that wasn't like a big change for me, but yep.
And just disclaimer, because there were 2 people that said they quit their jobs. You don't have to quit your jobs, and we actually tell you not to quit your jobs, just because this can be a long process. Foundations takes about 2 months, and then Career Jumpstart can take up to 8 months, depending on how long it takes you to find a job. And if you're solely focusing on like your next job, sometimes it can get pretty overwhelming. It can take all the way from like, I think it took CJ 2.5 weeks to find a job when she started applying. I think Noemi was what, like 3 or 4 months, right? And then Angie, I think it was 5 months, right? So like there's a big range. And like if you look at their portfolios, they almost all look exactly the same. And like they were all following the same instructions. So it can be a pretty lengthy process. So we definitely don't encourage you to quit your job unless you have backup. It's not necessary for you to do. Let's move on to the next question. So for those of you that transitioned from an unrelated field, which was all of you, how was that process, especially the interview process? And this person's saying they currently work in insurance and have no formal or IT related experience. So maybe you all can talk about like prepping for interviews and like how you felt like during your first interview and then maybe like your last interview, right, Angie? I think you became a pro at interviewing and we worked with you a lot on like the interview process. So maybe we'll start. Noemi, do you want to kick us off just on like how you felt transitioning, from your hairstylist job to this type of job and the difference in interview processes?
Yeah, I think anybody can do it, especially like I was doing hair, like completely unrelated. I was like formulating color and stuff like that. So nothing to do with tech. I think like maybe one of the challenging parts was trying to learn Figma, just because it was something completely different that I had never really used. Let's see what else. The interview process was definitely intimidating because I was used to like applying for a job and they would see my work and they'd be like, oh yeah, she knows how to do hair. But with this, there was like multiple rounds and stuff like that. But you definitely get more comfortable as you go. And then as well as like the mentorship that you get, like I was doing a lot of like mock interviews with Megan in Career Jumpstart. And so that made me feel really confident. And so I started doing those and like portfolio walkthroughs with her. And that really ultimately helped me. And at the end of it, I was like really confident. I was just like, when can I get started? Like, I'm ready to get the ball rolling type of thing. So yeah, Angie?
Yeah, I will say, I mean, the interview process for me was like 5 months. It was, I had good weeks, pretty exciting weeks, pretty like busy weeks, which is ultimately what you want. You have to have a lot of interviews. And it was definitely like really low weeks when I was like, I completely don't want to answer my phone because I don't want like anyone else going through the same type of questions, because like the interview, it's basically like you have as Noemi mentioned it, you have different rounds, and the first round is mainly the same for everyone, so it is like the same type of questions, and they're just trying to figure out if you can, what do you know about the file. And so, or just seeing some, even like personal information. So I will say it was ups and downs. I had, as Maka mentioned, I had like multiple final rounds. I have 5 final rounds, and all of that, on a sense, it gave me the confidence to go into the next set of rounds. But on other hand, it's like, okay, I'm getting there, and it's something that I'm not clicking in to like get completely higher. So that's a lot of it requires a lot of self energy. I don't know how to say, but like basically you need to know yourself, and you need to know that that's not going to be an easy way. It's not a magic way. That the Career Jumpstart is a lot of like really good support. I would say that that's the best support you can have. But you also need to be conscious that you're not exactly cut the same way as all the other people who is in the Career Jumpstarts. But I know basically that give you like a sense of what are your weakness and what are your like strengths. So working on that definitely will help you to land your job. And also I had certain I would say I had some other things that my ideal job would be. So yeah, CJ.
Yeah. So yeah, for how to do well in interviews. So really interview is like selling yourself, right? For the technical part of it, as long as you really stay involved and keep involved in the school, like Avocademy stuff, you follow, you watch the lessons, you do the modules, like I wouldn't say religiously, but like if you really like put it in your brain and then you talk with people all the time, you keep in touch with the community, with Malka, all the mentors, and then you do your job of just learning proactively outside of the course, even like you do your research, not just what you're doing generally, but like in the school as your courses, but also like how to keep up with best practices and design trends, and even the tool that you're using. The most popular one right now is Figma. So if you look at like tips and tricks and then all those other like lessons that you can find on the internet for free, the technical part of it is I think you're gonna get it covered to like do well, to like ace your interviews. Um, what the other side of like the interview that's really important is like soft skills. And I think it doesn't matter what field or industry you're transitioning from into UX, as long as you like Noemi was did hairs, right? And then Angie was doing research and stuff, and then I was just a student my whole life, but well not I wouldn't, but yeah, but you get it. You do something in your life, like that question, I forgot whose it was, but insurance, right? I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you guys do a lot of like talking to clients. So in my case, I studied flight. I went to flight training. It was ran like a boot camp. It was pretty scary. I got yelled at all the time. So I think I think my speaking skills is there. So it's just really soft skills, communicating clearly, knowing how to tell a story cohesively. You do that, you train yourself with that, you transfer that skill into, you translate it to design. I think you'll do well regardless of which industry you're from. And then in Jumpstart, more than likely you're going to make friends with your teammates, whoever it is you're working with. In my case, I did do mock interviews with a mentor whose job is to only do that with you, Megan. And then I would practice with my friend as well. Her name's Kathy, but she's not here. So we went through this process together. We're pretty much like, parallel with each other. So she went to interview, I went to interview, and then we talked about it. We brainstormed, talked about what happened, what to anticipate in our next round of interviews that are coming. So yeah, you just practice really soft skills, communication, and then your technical stuff, your design stuff, you can learn that also. So yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. There's a couple questions here. Let's see. Is everyone that enrolled in the Foundations course going to be able to get into Career Jumpstart? So a requirement of Career Jumpstart is that you finish the Foundations course. So if you finish the Foundations course, there's an application, and most likely you will get in. In the application, we do ask you a couple things to assess your skills. And we also take into consideration the mentor feedback throughout the Foundations course to really understand like your skills, like are you receptive to feedback, how do you work, and then we assess if you're going to get into Jumpstart that way. The next question is, how long were you in Career Jumpstart for? And I'm just going to quickly answer that. So CJ, which is confusing, we call Career Jumpstart CJ, and then CJ's name is also CJ, so sorry about that, but CJ spent about 2 months doing projects, and then she got a job within like 3 weeks, right, ish of applying. So 2 months and 3 weeks. Angie worked on projects for 2 months, and then it took 5 months, so that's 7 months. And then Noemi was 2 months of projects, and then another 3-ish months, right? So like 5-6 months. So I said this earlier, but in Career Jumpstart, you spend 2 months on projects, and then you start applying. And that's like a variable time frame, but we'll support you for up to 6 months of job search. So there's a question here. How different is it? I'm actually going to jump around. Now that you're full-time designers, how would you describe a typical workday? And how different is that from the Career Jumpstart work experience?
Can I go? So I work from home, and I don't do well with working from home. I'm very social. So in Career Jumpstart, you set meetings with everyone because everyone has their own lives going on. So you set these meetings and you assign different aspects of the project that you're going to tackle on, and then you keep communications. And my job is I don't get like micromanaged at all. I'm told to do something, and then this is that. So this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what's going on, and then just that's it. As long as if I have any questions, I can always talk to my senior designer or my manager. And then once a week, every Thursday, we have a UX like check-in with everybody. It's like an hour. It's just it's about all things design, even if it's just cool things we find or things related to the projects we're currently working on. That's good. I like it, but I sometimes working remotely, I can't help but feel isolated sometimes because I sit on my computer and then I work for 8 hours and I don't know if I'm doing well or if my team members, like the team I'm working on right now in the company, they're all awesome. But sometimes I can't help but feel like neglected because I'm like, what am I doing here? So I'm just facing my computer, not knowing what to do. I mean, I know what to do. I'm working on my design. So I asked them if they could have daily check-ins for 15 minutes every day before we start a day. So that's how my day starts. Every day before the day starts, we sit, we talk about what we're going to do, what we did, if there's any blockers, and then that's it. We just work till we can see our calendar. So if there's meetings, we jump on there and see each other. If we have questions, we ask each other. But other than that, it's just me really working. Angie?
Yeah, my day work. So we have daily stand-ups in the company. So basically, it is what CJ was saying, like, what you did yesterday? What are you focusing today? Is it any blockers or no? And then I think I'm fortunate that I have a paid-in designer. So most of the time we are working together. I work remotely and he works remotely too, but we like on top of each other all the time, and we like doing like sessions with the business manager. So they basically is the three of us paid in every morning, trying to figure out what is it that they need to do to accomplish while we're designing this application. So that's definitely good. I miss a little bit having like a designing solo time, just because I feel like I can move more around places, but this requires me to be entirely in my house most of the time, because the company wouldn't allow me to have any access to any type of data if it's not from my computer, and my computer cannot attach to all the free Wi-Fi that are available in the US. So seeing that is like, I feel like compared to what I was doing when I was doing with the Career Jumpstart, we have only one meeting a week, and we're working and deciding things, and maybe a second meeting. But other than that, you're just kind of able to like move around and relax for a like half hour, take your computer and be around. Here is just more like work, and then we have a lot of like company meetings, which is, it's nice, but then you have to be right there attached to your computer, and sometimes it's like not that productive. But other than that, I mean, I will say I'm pretty grateful because the designer I'm pairing with, he's pretty senior, so I think I get to learn a lot, and I get to see we're basically, and we work through the whole process too. We do like, we're basically, the first session is like researching and understanding the product, and that takes a lot of time. And then I will say the minimum work we do is the designing. It's like basically their product is not already designed, but it's kind of somehow like has a before version, and we updating that. And the other thing is my UI, and I'm being honest, is not like completely awesome. So I've seen other students who have like a really great eye for doing UI. I don't do much UI because of the type of company I'm working with. So that's basically my day. Naomi.
I'm trying to think back to what CJ was. So I used to always join the daily connect and visit Maka all the time on there. But other than that, I didn't really have any meetings in Career Jumpstart other than like whenever I was working on projects. But like Angie mentioned, they were only like about maybe once or twice a week. And then now I don't have a ton of meetings. I think like my Mondays are usually no meetings, and then like during the middle of the week there's a lot more, but then towards the end of the week they kind of trickle down a little bit. As far as like a typical day, we actually don't have a daily connect, so I suggested doing like a daily check-in through Slack. So we usually just like write what we're doing for the day, any blockers, and what we're working on and what we worked on yesterday. And then I'll work on some designs. So although I am the only designer on my team, there are other designers in the company. So I'll mostly chat with them to make sure like, hey, what do you think about this? But other than that, it's like a lot of like heads down work, designing. So pretty chill for the most part. We are going through like a big redesign of the whole platform right now. So it's, we're still trying to figure out how everything's gonna go down. So it's pretty calm right now, but it's like the tip of the iceberg type thing. So it's gonna get crazy.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. Let's see. So there's a question here that says, is it possible to find jobs that lean much heavier towards UI than UX? My favorite part has been working with Figma so far. I'll take that. There's a big range of jobs in Career Jumpstart. We ask you what your preferences are, and then you just follow our approach to apply for jobs that match your preferences, whether it's remote or whether it's UX research, whether it's UI, where it's a little bit of everything. So yes, you can definitely lean more towards one side than the other. Let's see. Did you, okay, the jobs that you find after, okay, so let's do like a quick fire. The job you currently have, are you a full-time employee or is it a contract job? CJ, you want to start?
Contract. Know what I mean? Full-time. Angie?
Full-time.
Yeah. So our students, I would say about 50% find long-term contracts. Like, I think CJ, you don't have like an expiration date currently, right, on your contract? Yeah, it's
No,
like an
and
ongoing contract.
Yeah, and has all the benefits of full-time, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll, I just made a video actually explaining the difference between contract and direct hire for Career Jumpstart, so that you all understand what that means before you start taking on those interviews and doing that. There's a question here about, does Avocademy help with mock interviews? I think you all kind of briefly covered that you all did some mock interviews. Let's see. There were some questions here, and if I skipped your question, I'm coming back. I'm trying to direct the flow of the conversation. Did any of you do design challenges, like take-home challenges and or whiteboard challenges? And can you talk about what you did? Did you have any of those as part of your interview processes?
I think I have the three of those. I have take-home challenges. I have design challenges with whiteboard. And my current job, they did like both of they did like a whiteboard and they did like a presentation portfolio and painting, this design painting at the end. So it was like a whole process. They brought me, I think that was the longest and the most structured interview I had, because it was, before it was just only someone, one person, and the same people who is interviewing me are my users and all of this. This company just brought different users, brought different people to do the behavioral questions. They brought different people to review my portfolio, and they brought a designer to pair with me at the end of the day to for the challenge. And what's the question? If I had
No, I think you answered it. You
Okay.
talked about all your different experiences. Noemi, do you want to talk about maybe like how many interviews you had and if you did design challenges or whiteboards?
Yeah, I think I had like over 40 interviews in total. As far as challenges, formally I had 2 challenges. One was designing a parking app, which was a take home. I had a week to do it. And the other one was basically organizing data, which was a little strange, but definitely part of what you would do in the job. And so I had a week as well to do. Oh no, actually that was a weekend challenge. So I only had like the weekend to do it. So yeah, that was it.
I guess it's my turn. For me, I didn't do any take-home challenges, but I did do a whiteboard challenge, which ultimately got me my job. I did the first round of interview, and I guess they've been looking for a designer for a while. Also, because this job is something that I got through a recruiter who is now my friend that Maka connected me with. So she really like fought for me and vouched for me. So after the first round of interview, the person who interviewed me, who is now my manager, he said, so let's just schedule a whiteboard challenge the next day. So immediately we did it. I said not the next day. I was like, can you give me like one more day to prepare for it? And he's like, yeah. So I did a whiteboard challenge, and it was an hour. It was a redesign of what they already have. Like it's an internal app, so it's Southern Company employers that uses it. So it wasn't building something from scratch like most whiteboard challenges you not I don't know why I did that. Most whiteboard challenges you see on YouTube where they're like asked to make like a conceptual app. So it was a redesign. I did that for an hour, and yeah, I got the offer after that.
So I'm going to combine some questions here. Did you all feel prepared to work in UX after finishing Foundations and Career Jumpstart? Slash, I forgot the second question. Do you feel like you needed to do an internship after finishing Career Jumpstart and getting a full-time job? Which none of you did, but I'm going to just ask it all together.
I
You want to
feel
start?
like
Oh, no, I mean, go for it.
I didn't really feel like I needed any extra like program or anything like that, just because I was already like getting lots of feedback from people viewing my portfolio that were already in the industry, and they were really impressed with like the work that I had done. So I was like, okay, it's just all like up here, you know, me like downplaying myself. And now that I'm like in the real world, if anything, like components, which you guys might not understand, but like creating master components, I learned how to do during Career Jumpstart. And so that was one of the things that I was doing whenever I first started this job. And my coworker who's been doing UX design for 3 years didn't know how to do that. So I like walked her through it, and I was like, oh my God, like I know something that other people don't. So but yeah, I think you're good after the 2 programs. CJ.
Oh yeah. No, for the internship question, it's actually funny because a lot of people don't know what UX QA design is. You ask them about it and they're like, that's a scam. So I was like, it's hard to explain. So as I was going through Career Jumpstart, people are asking me like what I'm up to in school. So I would say I'm in an internship right now. So for me, I looked at Career Jumpstart this whole time as the internship. So Foundations was the school portion, and then internship Jumpstart because I'm working with actual real clients. And did I feel adequate enough? Yeah, I would say. No, I'm gonna be honest. Waka, she knows this. There were times where I was like, just like bomb her DM and be like, Waka, I don't feel like I have enough case study. Like, is this good enough? Like, I don't know. And then she's like, that's fine. Like, people submit that in their case studies. So, yeah. I did interviews. Turned out just doing enough. And even now, my managers like knowing me, I would still find some things I teach them about, like new things, even though they've been working in the industry for like decades. So yeah, it's enough. It's sufficient. It's good enough. Sometimes even more. Angie?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I feel it was enough. I feel like I was afraid too at the beginning. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can accomplish this, and I don't know if like the people who's like hired me, like my first week, right? Like, I don't know if I have all the tools to work with this person who is more senior than me and be able to handle everything they're talking about. And I think it is enough, and it is still a lot to learn. And but I think the program talks to itself. It's a foundations, and I think those are the best foundations you can find around because it give you absolutely everything. The the rest is like anything you develop after that it will be easier to do it once you have that basically solid base.
Thank you all. There's some questions here I'm going to quickly answer, and then I have another one for you all. But for Career Jumpstart, how many average hours a week do you dedicate to a client's project? It was tough balancing my job and the Foundations course at the same time. So for Foundations, we say it's about 15 to 20 hours per week. And then that's for the 8-week period. And then for Career Jumpstart, it's less. And you all can maybe like nod if you agree or disagree. But for like, I usually have calls with folks that come from Foundations CJ, and they're like, am I doing something wrong? Like, I don't have that much work. So you're spending about like 10 to 15 hours, I would say, because you have to remember there's usually about 4 people per group and you're working on a project together. So you split up the work amongst those 4 people. Let's see. How many case studies do you have on your portfolio before getting hired? Maybe we'll do a fast fire. How many case studies did you all have? Or maybe put your fingers up. How many you had? 4, 5, 5. Yeah. So the minimum we ask that for you to do in Career Jumpstart is 3. So you have 1 from Foundations and then 2 from Career Jumpstart, and then you can keep working on projects as you're looking for work. Is it advisable to go for a remote position as your first UI UX position? It's whatever you want. Like CJ is a good example of somebody who like would probably thrive in an in-person environment, right? And then like I think both of you are saying, remote is okay, but it comes up to you and your personal preferences and like where you are in life. I think you learn the same remote or in person. It's really up to you. But I'll shoot a question to everybody here. You guys said that you went to other boot camps, or I think maybe you mentioned you did like some small course before starting Avocademy. What sets this one apart, and how confident are you guys to give like recommend? I'm gonna rephrase that. What sets this one apart, and how confident do you feel like in your job right now?
Definitely Career Jumpstart sets it apart. It was, for me, the fact it was the unlimited mentorship first, because a lot of people have very limited, if not at all, mentorships. And then the more I looked into it, I saw Career Jumpstart, which is like, career assistance and mock interviews and real client projects you can put in your case studies. So yeah, that's it, period.
Yeah, I would say the same. Unlimited mentorship is just key for every step. Like every single step when you're going to the foundations. The Career Jumpstart too, like not everyone just offers like the opportunity to build your portfolio, and it is quite supportive. It's a lot of support that this Career Jumpstart has. So I don't think any other place will support that. And then yeah, basically that, like just mentorship and support for like during the job navigation. That's a lot.
Yeah, I definitely say also like the way everything is taught, Maka does a really good job of making sure it's like really easy to understand. It's straightforward. You're not confused about anything. Like everything's really clear. And Career Jumpstart, you have like those daily connect calls that I mentioned. So you're always able to connect with everybody. Like if you're having a hard time or anything like that, you know, you can just hop on there and it's like your daily dose of happiness. And then as well as like the mock interviews, mentorship is really great. Just knowing that like somebody's there along the way. You're not just like by yourself trying to like navigate through this on your own. So yeah.
And I forgot, collaborate with other designers definitely is really great experience. Like you get a lot from that because the teams are always different, and so you rotate through the projects, and every single team has, I mean, everyone has something to bring into the team. So anything like components, like Naomi mentioned before, then we suddenly have someone in the team who's really great at components, and she just decided to explain it to all of us. In another team, someone was pretty awesome at UI, and she decided to, you know, explain that to all of us. And then just like the moments that this also like help you realize that that's a lot of value that Career Jumpstart brings into your profile.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And not all, sorry, Maka, like
No, go
not
for it.
all team works the same, not all projects, not all team works the same way. Each team, you have different dynamics with different people. And then not all projects will, it's just, the process is not the same. The requirements, the deliverables, you know, the deadlines and all that. So that's something really you can reference back on in your interviews when they say like, tell me a challenge or something, or how do you communicate this and this with your with your team members. That's where Career Jumpstart really comes into play, because you're doing real world projects. So it's your experiences are more valid if ever.
Oh, thank you all. So Sadi is gonna share. There's a bunch of questions, but just because we're getting to like the last quarter of this call, Sadi's gonna share a coupon code that expires this Friday if you're signing up for Foundations in the chat here somewhere. So just keep an eye out for that. And I'm just gonna jump right into the next question. So Noemi, because you are the only sole designer here. If you have a UX UI question from your team and you don't know the answer, and since you are an only designer, how do you answer that question or solve your task? And it's okay if the answer is Google, but
I do Google something sometimes. I honestly, so like I am the only sole designer in our village, but there are other designers and other teams. So I usually ask them and I'm like, hey, what do I do? Or like I'll ask, so my boss is the VP of design instead of the product manager. And so I'll ask her, I'll be like, hey, like, I don't know what this means, or what, like, where can I find the answer? And everybody's pretty good about getting back to me. So I think just being like really transparent. If you don't know something, just ask.
cool. We'll do some quick fires. What equipment did your company send you? If you feel comfortable answering, if not, just say pass. What equipment did your company send you when you started your job, if any? CJ, you want to start?
A MacBook Pro.
Cool.
Yes,
Angie?
Yeah, MacBook.
Same.
Yeah. So that's pretty standard. You usually get like a MacBook and maybe a budget for a second screen or like little things like that. Work-life balance, maybe quick fire. How many hours a week do you work? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because I typically work from 9 to 5, but you know, I like take breaks. I'll go inside and like pet my dogs and stuff. So it's definitely not like the full 8 hours, I'll say that.
Okay.
Angie?
I'm still working, so that's why I'm looking at this. My mic, just seeing if someone is chatting with me. But honestly, it's I get time to like go pick up my daughter because whatever, people is pretty flexible, and I don't have childcare until later, not for the next month, so I'm like still able to do that. And you know, there are meetings and stuff that you need to assist to, but I wouldn't say that I work 8 hours per day.
Yeah, definitely not 8 hours a day. I take naps. I go on walks. I run errands all the time, every day. I block my calendars just for naps.
That's just
And
being
then-
recorded. Maybe we don't want to say the rest of that. So work-life balance, good overall is what we're hearing. Let's do like a thumbs up. Are you enjoying your new roles? Is it like good, so for you all? Like you like your job, worth it? Awesome. Okay, so if you don't feel comfortable sharing, please do not share. This is the question we always get: pay ranges. And how did you negotiate your pay? So as part of Career Jumpstart, we help you negotiate, and that looks like you sending us your offer and us helping you write an email back, prepping you to negotiate, as well as telling you how to avoid a pay conversation up front, so then you can actually do the negotiation at the end. So if you feel comfortable, can you share what your pay range is or your pay is, and if you negotiated or not? And if not, we'll skip it.
I will say I negotiated. I mean, the negotiation was less than expected, but it was good.
I'll go next. I'm making over 6 figures. And I did negotiate. Maka was the go-to person for that, so I'm very thankful for her. CJ?
Yeah, I negotiated twice. I wanted to be greedy at first, but it's already more than I asked for, and yeah, I get benefits for a contract job. So
yeah, I'll share some like wide numbers. So the U.S. average for a junior designer role is $65,000. Our graduates of Career Jumpstart average about 85K, and we see people in the 6 figures, mid 6 figures. Our highest salary has been $156,000 as a junior. And Noemi's been our highest negotiation. I think we helped her negotiate almost $15,000 more than like initial offer. So we will definitely help with negotiations. I have like a LinkedIn rant somewhere about negotiating and women not asking for negotiations. So it's an important part of the course. So someone's asking if the course is for people with little knowledge about UX UI design. Yes, so Foundations literally starts with like, what is UX? What is UI? Like it's very basic, and if you already know that, you can kind of go through it, but it starts from like step 0. Any other skills that you all recommend along with UX UI, like analytics, coding? Let's do this. Which of you codes during your jobs? This is a question we always get. Anybody code? No. Anything else that you all recommend? You know, I don't know. People usually think you need to code or you need analytics, or there's a lot of like myths around that. Any thoughts?
I would just say like good practice design, and that's like a quick Google. that's something Maca always like mention in absolutely all my projects, all my best practices, and then that's the key. You don't need to know much about coding. You don't need to know much. Like honestly, my product right now is just like I'm trying to understand what these people is going through and how they're doing their job, and that's my job. I need to understand how do they do their job, and then I need to bring it up to a design and make life easier for them, and that's all. That's all. It's not related to any science, is not related to any coding, basic things about coding. Like, of course, I cannot ask something really critical and really out of mind, but then you have your engineers there to like ask, can I do this? Can this be possible or not? And then that's all you need to know.
Yeah, like Angie said, as designers, we're working closely with engineers, and business people as well as stakeholders. Just every company is different, but just knowing the very, very, very high level basic like terms and jargons, just so like you can work closely better with them. You know, it's good to level with someone you're speaking with, regardless of it's design related or not. So just do your due diligence in learning some terms that comes up with, and you know, understand, just Google it, and that's really it.
Yeah, we found that the skill that people struggled the most with was agile, which is like why we created our agile course. So like learning how people work together in software development when you're not a developer. So like learning what a sprint is. Like I think a lot of you talked about a daily stand-up, right? That's like an agile methodology. But we're getting here to time. We have 5 minutes left. We did not get to all the questions. So if you all have a question, feel free to send it, email us at info@avocademy.com. If you're not a current student, if you're a current student, feel free to drop it in Slack so that we can get to it. And let's do just like some wrapping advice. So if all of you can go around and give like one piece of advice to folks that are thinking about making this career change or are currently going through the process, what would it be?
Just do it. The market is hungry for new UX, UI designers at the moment. And if you just take, you know, the opportunity, if you have the opportunity, just do it. You wouldn't regret. And it pays itself. And then career, I mean, Avocademy it's just a great place to start and not have to, you know, you don't need to have so much money, invest so much for doing a transition. And their team is like really supportive. I will definitely go back there 3 times if I have the opportunity. Even if I'm gonna change the career again, and then Maca is gonna do another another class, I will definitely go back there because it feels worth it.
I would say the same thing as Angie. Just do it. Like, if I can do it, you can definitely do it. Just don't give up. It can be tough sometimes, but I think just like staying consistent, and then like, you know, let somebody know, like if you're having a hard time, just like let people know, and like everybody's really willing to help. Yeah, we're not paid by Nike, but yeah, just do it. yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. I think Sadi dropped the coupon here if you're still interested in joining Avocademy, the Foundations program. For those of you that are currently in Foundations, you can do it, like they all said. You're almost there. And then if you all have any questions, feel free to email info@avocademy.com and we can answer any of the questions we didn't get to today. But again, thank you all, everybody, for joining, but you all 3 for participating in the panel today.
Anytime.
Bye, y'all.
An honor. Thank you. Bye.